Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, so Venerable Sangha, Sales and dear Dhamma friends. So we'll resume our discussion on the Kusalattika Paṭṭhāna. So from last week, I have a couple of questions, which one of them is from Syali Aganyani. She mentioned that she, when she was checking out she was watching the video, the recording, the YouTube, she mentioned that in the Jhana Paccaya, which we discussed last week, that the sixth one, I have missed out completely. So I will explain that first. Right. So, so in the case of the Jhana Paccaya, it's the numbers, the sixth enumeration, which is akusalo akusalabhyakatassa, the unwholesome supporting to the unwholesome and indeterminate. So here, now the conditioning phenomena, the jhana factors as usual, which arise in the mind moments of 12 unwholesome consciousnesses, and then the 27 mental factors which support the there is an error here too, which support the associated aggregates and mind produced matter. Okay? It should be corrected like that. I think we have corrected that part. Maybe, I don't know. In the Word file, it's there, right? It's corrected, I see. Yeah.
Yes.
And then we have, then we have the condition state as the condition phenomena, associated aggregates, and the mind produced matter arising from the 12 unwholesome consciousnesses and the 27 mental factors. Right. And then we have the instrumental case phrase. It is the jhana along with the forces of connaissance, dependence, faculty, path, presence, and non-disappearance. Altogether, there are there are 7 forces. Right. And due to the presence of indriya and magga, this faculty and path conditions, so it is taken, these two are taken as appropriately, and the remainder, right, which is the four conditions from the Sahajāta great group, and the jhana condition, so they are taken as completely. Right. So that's the first error, and the second one is on the page number 14. Okay, so this is page number 14, right? Okay, I'm not into the page numbers. Okay, so so in abhyakato abhyakatas, for number 7, I think. So is it correct, Sale? For abhyakato abhyakatas, you are telling, right? At the Paṭṭhāna moment, yeah. So at the Paṭṭhāna moment, instrumental case phrase. So she's telling about this. So she mentioned that there are 11 conditions, but I have only written down 10 conditions here. The Vipaka Paccaya is missing, right? It has to be included. So I have wrote here as 11 forces, but the Vipaka Paccaya is missing. So Vipaka needs to be added here, right? Because it's at the moment of conception. So Vipaka has to come. Okay, so yes, sadhu for Sale for pointing out those errors, which is beneficial for everybody. So the question is asking, can Sayadaw kindly give examples of how the various conditioning forces of the jhana would arise completely and appropriately in the context of daily life, please. Under what situation would be the path and the faculty conditions arise appropriately, please? Please kindly explain. So these conditions, yeah, so in the daily context, right? So we have to understand now the jhana condition, it arises in unwholesome consciousnesses, the wholesome consciousness, and some of the indeterminate consciousnesses, right? Excluding the two fivefold sense consciousnesses, right? So wherever the other consciousnesses, this jhana condition is arising, it arises, right? So without any fail, it arises. So that's a special feature of this jhana condition, right? So even now, the jhana condition, when we are listening to the Dhamma now, when we are doing this Dhamma activity, the jhana condition is there, right? Even in the unwholesome consciousness, the jhana is there. So in any context, really, apart from the two fivefold sense consciousness, plus this jhana condition is applicable. So that's one part of this thing, apart from the first part of the question. And the second question is, under what situation would the path and faculty conditions arise appropriately? I think the student does not have a clear idea, clear understanding on what the meaning of completely and appropriately. I believe that there's a problem with this, right? So completely means that when a particular set of conditioning phenomena is supporting to its conditioned phenomena through a particular conditioning force, there are other conditions which supports to the other conditions parallelly, simultaneously. So some of these conditions, right? If you take the base condition, the other some of the conditions will fully cover cover in the sense that in terms of the analytical states, the other conditions will fully cover the that base condition, right? It's like the example that we can very easily understand is if you take jhana and the Sahajāta. So Sahajāta covers all the conditioning and the conditioned states of the jhana. So that's a situation which in comparison, that's something happening completely. But if you take jhana and magga, it is not going to complete. It's not going to match perfectly, right? So the reason is that not matching really. It's like covering the base condition. It will not be there because the jhana and the magga is they become so they become commons only by the initial thought and the concentration. With magga. So it does not, the magga condition does not cover, or it does not completely match the base condition, right? So that's how we need to understand the conditioning conditions arising appropriately. Okay, so we'll move into the condition which we need to discuss this evening, which is the magga condition, the path condition, which is the third from the Sahajāta small group. Now remember, we were learning the analytical states of each of the 15 conditions which comes in the connaissance group, right? Starting from the Sahajāta small. So we discussed in our previous weeks, we discussed the root condition and also the jhana condition. Okay, so this is the table, which is the summary of what we'll be discussing. And starting from this first one, which is kusalo kusalasa, wholesome to wholesome. So what comes in the subject phrase? The conditioning phenomena, the 8 path factors, namely wisdom, initial thought, 3 abstinences, energy, mindfulness, and one-pointedness that arise in the mind moments of 21 wholesome consciousnesses and 38 mental factors which support the associated aggregates, right? So the pattern is the same, right? Which from the previous two conditions, the pattern is the same. The conditioning states, right? We have 8 path factors, right? So this part, it's the same, right? That arise in mind moments of 21 wholesome consciousnesses and 38 mental factors. This part is same, right? So what is changing? It's the path factors here, right? So then we have the conditioned states, the straightforward, the 21 wholesome consciousnesses and the 38 mental factors. And then we have the instrumental case phrase, the path condition, along with the forces of root, predominance, connaissance, mutuality, dependence, faculty, absorption, association, presence, and non-disappearance. And they are obtained completely and appropriately, and totaling to 11 forces. So in this context, the path, the mutuality, association, now because it's a case where the mental aggregates are supporting the mental aggregates. So we have the path, mutuality, association, and the great connaissance group. They arise, they can be taken as completely. And the root, predominance, faculty, and absorption, they comes as appropriately. Right. So now we move into the second one, kusalo abhyakatassa, wholesome to indeterminate. So for the kusalodhammo, for the subject phrase, we have the 8 path factors. And then in these 8 path factors, so it supports the mind-produced matter, and it takes place in the 5-fold existence. Okay, so now for the condition states, what we have here is the mind-produced matter, right, which arises in the 5-fold existence. So moving into the instrumental case phrase, we have 10 forces, and starting from the path, the root, predominance, connaissance, dependence, faculty, jhana. Then we have the disassociation, presence, and non-disappearance. Right? And they're obtained completely and appropriately here. Right? And the path, disassociation, and the great connaissance group, they're taken as completely. Now note here the disassociation is also comes as completely, right? Because it's the case where the path factors are supporting the mind-produced matter. So the disassociation comes in full with parallel to the path condition. And also this the root, predominance, faculty, and absorption, they become appropriately. So the third one, which is kusalo kusalabhyakatassa, the wholesome to wholesome and indeterminate. So here also we have the 8 path factors, and then in which support the associated aggregates and rooted mind produced matter in the 5-fold existence. So then we have the conditioned state, which are the 21 wholesome consciousnesses, 38 mental factors, and the rooted mind produced matter. Right? So why this is okay here? Yeah, okay. I forgot to kind of here it should be yes, here it should be really the rooted mind produced matter. In the second enumeration, this one also should be the rooted mind produced matter. Because we know the Magga Paccaya, the path condition, it's applicable where the wherever the root condition is applicable, right? So in unrooted consciousnesses, this path condition is not applicable. So whatever the mind-produced matter which arise, they are also mentioned as a rooted mind-produced matter. Right. So in the instrumental case phrase, there are 9 forces. The path along the forces with hetu, the root, predominance, connaissance, dependence, faculty, absorption, presence, and non-disappearance, right? Again, it's obtained completely and appropriately. So in the case of the path and the great connaissance group, we have taken it as they arise completely, and the other conditions, root, predominance, and faculty and absorption, they have to be taken as appropriately. Right. So now we move into the fourth one, which is unwholesome to unwholesome. And here there is something special which is changing here. The path factors, there are only 4 of them, right? Because these are unwholesome consciousnesses. So we have only the initial thought, the energy, one-pointedness, and then the wrong view. So the other things such as with the wisdom, and then the mindfulness, the sati, what is the other one? The 3 abstinences, right? They are not present here. So these 4 factors, they support the 12 unwholesome consciousnesses and the 27 mental factors. Right. And then the condition states are the conditioned phenomena of the 12 unwholesome consciousnesses and the 27 mental factors. And for the instrumental case phrase, there are 10 forces in total. The path with predominance, connaissance, mutuality, dependence, faculty, absorption, association, presence, and non-disappearance, obtained completely and appropriately. So in this context, the path, mutuality, association, and the great connaissance group, so how many are there? 3 and 7. They arise completely, and the predominance, faculty, and absorption, they are taken as appropriately. For the 5th one, the akusalo abhyakatassa, unwholesome to indeterminate. Here also we have the 4 path factors, right? And then it support the condition phenomena of rooted mind-produced matter. And this takes place in the 5-fold existence. Okay, so in the for the dative case phrase, it's the rooted mind-produced matter produced by the unwholesome consciousnesses, and the in the instrumental case phrase, there are 9 forces in total, which the path, the predominance, connaissance, dependence, faculty, absorption, dissociation, presence, non-disappearance, which are taken as obtained completely and appropriately. And then in the path, dissociation, and the 4 connaissance, great connaissance group, so they are taken as completely, and the predominance, faculty, and absorption, they are taken as appropriately. The 6th one, unwholesome, akusalo, akusalabhyakatassa, unwholesome to unwholesome and indeterminate. So we have 4 path factors as usual, right? And which they support the associated aggregates and the rooted mind-produced matter in the 5-fold existence. Right. Then we have the dative case phrase, and we have the rooted, the associated aggregates, the 12 unwholesome consciousness and the 27 mental factors and the rooted mind produced matter. Right. In the instrumental case phrase, how many conditions? There are 8 in total. The path with the forces of predominance, connaissance, dependence, faculty, absorption, presence, non-disappearance, which are obtained completely and appropriately, totaling to 8 forces. And then in here that we have to take the path and the 4 great connaissance group conditions as completely, and the rest, which is the predominance, faculty, and absorption, as appropriately. Then we moving to the abhyakato abhyakatasa, indeterminate to indeterminate, and we have two parts here. One is at the period of life continuity, and the second one is at the moment of conception. So in the period of life continuity, we have the subject phrase here. And again, we have here the 8 path factors, because in the indeterminate, there are 8 path factors, right? In 8 factors in total, right? Even the virati, the 3 abstinences, they are there because in the resultant consciousnesses, I'm sorry, in the fruit consciousnesses, the 3 abstinences arise, right? So that's why I take as 8, and which is applicable. They arise in the 21 rooted resultant consciousnesses, and then in the 17 rooted functional consciousnesses, and the number of associated mental factors are 38, right? They support the conditioned phenomena of associated aggregates and the rooted mind produced matter. So we have learned this before. The associated aggregates part, it's applicable for the immaterial plane, and in some of the consciousnesses which does not generate any mind produced matter. And the associated aggregates and the rooted mind produced matter, this part is applicable for the in the fivefold existence, right? And this takes place, of course, during the life continuity, right? Then for the dative case phrase, the conditioned phenomena are the 21 rooted resultant consciousnesses, the 17 rooted functional consciousnesses, and then the 38 mental factors, the rooted mind produced matter produced by the resultant, and the functional consciousnesses. And for the instrumental case phrase, there are 13 in total, which the path with the forces of root, predominance, connaissance, mutuality, dependence, resultant, and then the faculty, the absorption, association, and the dissociation, presence, and non-disappearance, right? There are totally 13, which are obtained completely and appropriately. So in this context, the path and the great connaissance group are taken as completely, and the rest, the root, predominance, mutuality, result, faculty, absorption, association, and the dissociation, they are taken as appropriately. Then we move into the second part, at the moment of conception. So there are 5 path factors: wisdom, initial thought, energy, mindfulness, and then one-pointedness, right? 5 are there. The 3 abstinences do not appear here, because we know the 3 abstinences, they do not arise at the moment of conception. There is no need for that arising for the 3 abstinences there. So it's not evident, it's not applicable here. So where does it apply? In the 17 rooted at the moment of conception consciousness, right? So that's another important thing. On this, in the 17, right? So there are 19 consciousnesses, but the 17 of them are rooted. And as I explained earlier, the path condition is applied when the root condition is there. So only the 17 are taken here, and then we have the 35 mental factors here, which support the condition phenomena of associated aggregates, and then associated aggregates, and again we have the term rooted here, rooted comma produce method, right? So this is pretty much similar to this part is pretty much similar to the root condition. Then we have the condition states. The condition phenomena of the 17 rooted at the moment of conception consciousnesses, and the 35 mental factors and the rooted comma produce matter that arise at the moment of conception. And then the 12 forces for the instrumental case phrase. The part along with the forces of root, connaissance, mutuality, dependence, result, faculty, absorption, association, disassociation, presence, non-disappearance, which are obtained completely and appropriately. And in this context, we have to take the path, result, and great connaissance group as completely, and the rest, the root, mutuality, faculty, absorption, association, and disassociation as appropriately. Right. Okay, so now we have completed the path condition, and now we have to move into the mental nutriment condition. But before moving into this one, I'd like to share you one thing, right? So, which is the, I believe that you all are going through these notes, studying by yourself, right? I mean, now I can explain this in this class and read out this, read out this conditioning states, the condition states, and the conditioning forces and everything. But what we really need to do is to have to do this study by yourself, right? You have to read it, understand it, how it applies, right? Make your notes, make your tables, whatever it is, do your own activity, right? Because with all these things, it's me who is learning, and of course, Brother JJ, who is translating this set of notes. So what really you have to do is to take this to yourself and do this study, right? Because in the future, then it's going to be much more complicated. It's going to be much more complicated, much more difficult. What I mean as complicated is that now we have started to put many pachas together, many conditions together, right? And then in the future subtopics, we'll be going through like in which conditions, in which conditioning forces are combined, what kind of dhammas are there as conditions and the conditioned, like that, right? So when you move into that section, if you don't do your work, if you do not memorize the things which I ask you to memorize, you will not continue the class, right? I'll tell you that. I'd like everybody to continue, but this is my third time I'm teaching the Paṭṭhāna, the Kusalattika Paṭṭhāna. So I know it for sure. Then like a good number, we'll stop the class. So what I'm telling is that make sure that you do the hard work and accumulate parami, right? Whatever the hard work that you are doing, working on this thing, that you are improving your wisdom, right? You're accumulating more and more parami. So please do work on that side too, right? I have to I do not remind this thing very frequently, but make sure that you all take the ownership and do the work properly. Okay, so there's a question from Sally Sikari. So, Vandami Bante, is it okay? Okay. So, for arising appropriately, is the following understanding correct? For example, for a Kamavachara Somanasa Sahagata Jnana Sampayutta Citta with 34 nama, when the nama kanda is the paccayuppannadhamma, the magga paccayadhamma will be ekaggata, vitakka, viriya, sati, amoha. Do we have more? Yeah. For jnana sampayutta okay, we have the chitta, we have the amoha here. Yeah. Yes, I think this is correct, right? For jhana, paccayadhamma, there will be ekaggata and vitakka. Yes, ekaggata, vitakka, which as the overlapping paccayadhamma. So jhana paccaya sati arises appropriately regarding to the two respective paccayadhamma. So I don't like to use this word arise, right? Like what what it means is that now in this case, we have something called a base condition, right? We have something called a base condition, which is the path condition. That is what we are taking as the base condition for the comparison, right? So when you take this base condition as the comparison, then the other condition, in this case, the jhana, which is the other condition, it is, I mean, the jhana paccaya, it's arising, right? I mean, in this case, in this condition, when when this consciousness arise, the jhana paccaya, all the five jhana factors, they will arise and they will support their respective condition states. It will be taking place, right? So why we are using these terms as why we are using these terms appropriately and completely, it's that is for the comparison, having one condition as the base condition, right? That's the only reason. So the paccayas, the will be there, right? The forces will be there in whatever their capacity, right? We have to understand it in this way. Okay, so do we? Yes, of course, Sally, you can talk.
Nami Bante. Yes, the reason I ask is because when studying the Paṭṭhāna, there's this Pali word yataraha.
Yes.
Is this because when reading
Yes.
the book, this word is translated as appropriately. Is this the same with this?
Same, exactly. So, Sally, are you referring to the Burmese books or where? Is it from the Pali commentaries? I don't think that in Pali commentaries we have the term yataraha for the Paṭṭhāna.
Oh, this book is the Pao meditation manual. Pao Doya meditation
All
manual.
right, so you can read the Burmese text, right?
No, English version. That's why it uses appropriately this word. So
Yes. Yataraha is appropriately. Yeah. So this is the word. It is they have the in the Burmese ancient Nisaya, the ancient Sayados, they have used the term yataraha in when they are writing the analytical states. So that I think that's what the Sayadaw has written in his book.
yeah, because in this meditation manual, when using this word, it mentions, for example, with the four Mahabhuta, any three out of the four Mahabhuta Paccayuppana can be supported by the remaining Mahabhuta. And for example, any one out of four can be supported. So this is used in this context. So when Bende is talking about this comparison between different paccaya, I got a little bit confused.
Okay. Yeah. So so in the case of the karmas, I mean, why this in the resultant consciousnesses, you take the resultant consciousnesses, in the resultant consciousness, this path condition is taken merely as a result, right? It taken as a result of a particular karma, which has enough uh, potential, the potency to give a resultant, rooted resultant, right? The potency to give the rooted resultant. But now what is explained as the ability to take into to the heavenly realms and the ability to take into woeful realms as Magga, it's based on the wholesome and the unwholesome consciousnesses, right? So the two Santirana Chittas which are mentioned here, these Santirana Chittas are resultants, right? Because of the nature of the karma, it's not giving rooted resultants. That's why it's excluded from the conditioned states of the Magga-Paccaya. Yes, it's same for the Kama-Avachara too. The rooted sensual resultant consciousness, yes, they have the Magga-Paccaya.
So
it's because of the karma, right? The rooted karma which has done in the past. The karmas, of course, and all of them are rooted. They have the potency to give a similar kind of a outcome, right? Similar kind of a result in that place, right? It has the ability to give that outcome. That's why. All the karmas are rooted, right? There is nothing called an unrooted one. What I'm telling is that they are powerful enough so that they are generating rooted resultants. So in that rooted resultants, the Magga-Paccaya is there.
Okay, so 老师呢在跟老师澄清呢，所以老师说呢，我们来分享功德。
Okay, so we share the merits which we accumulated by learning, by teaching, by discussing, translating the words of this Dhamma. And with this merit, we share for the deities and the other beings and make a wish for us to attain Nibbana.
那我们以呢今天我们所积累的种种的这个善业，通过呢学习，通过教导，通过翻译，然后我们把所有的这些积累的这些善业功德呢，我们跟所有的这些天人分享，也跟呢所有的一切众生分享，也呢我们以这个呢来发愿，愿我们大家呢都能够提升涅槃。
Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu sasanang. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu desanang. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu mang parang. Idammi nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idammi nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idammi nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamu Satan samagamo hotu yavanibbana pattiya yang pattang kusalang tassa anubhavena panino sabbe saddhamma rajassa nyatva dhammang sukhavahang papunantu visuddhaya sukhaya patipattiya asoka manupayasang nibbana sukhamuttamang chirang tiṭṭhatu saddhammo dhamme hontu sagarva sabbepi satta kalena samma devo pavassatu yatharakkinsu purana surajano tate vimang raja rakkatu dhammena attanova pajang pajang imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddhang pujemi Imaya Dhammanudhamma Patipattiya Dhammang Pujemi. Imaya Dhammanudhamma Patipattiya Sanghang Pujemi. Adhaimaya Patipattiya Jati Jara Vyadhi Maranamha Parimuccissami. Idamme punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu. Idamme punyang nibbanassa paccayo hotu. Mama punya bhagang sabba sattanang bhajemi. Te sabbe me samang punya bhagang labhantu. Buddha Sasanang Chirang Tithatu. Buddha Sasanang Chirang Tithatu. Buddha Sasanang Chirang Tithatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you very much, Bante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you.